You're listening to Bad Jew, the place where there's no such thing as a bad Jew. And guess what? This aesthetic is weird. It's different. It's new. That's because we are here in Yerushalayim. We're doing a really amazing spontaneous episode. I want to thank our guest, Rabbi Yom Tov Glaser, for the spontaneity and the flexibility of his presence being here. It's really an honor to have you. I also want to thank a few fans as well who have made this interview possible, including Joey and Yitzhak and Zev, and also Yosef Behar, who runs this amazing place of Oshpiza here in Jerusalem in the Old City. It's really a treat and an honor to have all this happening all at once. It's really a bracha come true. So, Rav Yom Tov, there is a what's the word? Oh, yes, that's right. We have the 2-minute Bad Jew challenge where you tell your life story in 2 minutes, where this is the right of entry onto the podcast for all the new guests on the show. Are you ready?
I'm ready. 2 minutes.
Excellent. Echad, shtayim, shalosh, yalla.
Yeah, so my name is Yom Tov Glaser. I was born in Los Angeles, California. I grew up in a place called Brentwood, which is where, all the movie stars and everyone lives. Dustin Hoffman actually lives in the home I grew up in. And when I was about 11 years old, I became disenchanted with Western civilization. And I began this crazy journey of skateboarding, surfing, mountain biking. I played lead guitar and sang in a rock band. And I had about 100 of these growing down my back over the years. I left school at 11, and I just kind of became this street kid, sleeping in a mansion at night. Very loving parents. I don't know what they were thinking at the time, but 12 years of intense life experience. I'm a very experiential guy to begin with, so I was just going full experience. And all that experience led to, before it led to anything, I got a scholarship to come to Jerusalem, to Esha Torah, to study Torah across from the Temple Mount. And I have been studying, I've been teaching and studying ever since then here, including Esha Torah for decades. And thank God I got married, built a beautiful home. And I've been helping people with life. And I have a program, seminar company called The Possible You. The Possible You is in 5 cities. About 15 years ago, I was discovered by the Black Hatitude Herodian community. And so, hey, if that's who wants to come. So we service them quite a bit, although we're planning to branch out now into other communities as it originally was supposed to be. And so, that's what I do. I travel a lot, I fly a lot, and I have a very dedicated staff. And together we are transforming the lives of lots of people.
Awesome. Also, I've never heard Black Hatitude before, and we got to put that on some merch. So speaking of merch, we got our website, badjew.co. Badjew.co is where you can get your Mazel Tov t-shirts, where you can get your Schmooze Cruise tumbler wine drinks. It's a great time. We got all these amazing, fun pieces of merch here to show your Jewish pride anywhere and everywhere you go. But Rav Yom Tov, we're talking about a very serious subject matter. The serious subject matter is Tisha B'Av. It's known as the saddest day in the Jewish calendar, but the reality is most people, they only fast on Yom Kippur, if at all, right? And this is a day that we're supposed to fast. This is a day that seems kind of detached, and to some might be a whole brand new idea. So let's get to the bottom of it. What is the real story? What is the real story of Tisha B'Av?
So, okay. You're right. It's a major fast. We have 3 minors and 2 majors. So minor means it starts at dawn until sundown. Major means it starts before right before sundown until the following 3 stars. So it's even more than 24 hours. And this is the hardest one because it's summer. If you live in if you live in Australia, it's the easiest one. But if you live in Jerusalem or in America, meaning North America, you have the longest fast. And I just want to mention that even if you never would have dreamed to fast on Tisha B'Av, that maybe this year you should, because we're going through a lot.
Do you think the timing of it all is intentional in the sense of Hashem wanting it to be the most miserable time of the year, the hottest time of the year?
Yeah. No, which brings up why we're fasting.
Right.
And so this fast, which begins Monday late afternoon until Tuesday night, is about the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. And there was Temple 1 and Temple 2, and Temple 3 coming to a theater near you. But it was 2 temples. I'm sorry if I have a sense of humor. There's not much I could do about it.
Sorry for having a sense of humor.
Well, I mean, it is 9 days. You know?
Yeah.
It's a 3-week mourning period, but the last 9 days are intense. And then the last days that come after Shabbat, before it, is even more intense. So we're in the most intense time of it. And yes, where does it come from? So it really comes from the destruction of Temple 1 and Temple 2. Temple 2 was like nothing compared to Temple 1. In beauty, it was actually more beautiful, probably. But in the period, it was, a lot of Jews didn't come back. You know, they were busy. They were enjoying, Glatt Mart, and gourmet glatt. And they liked pulling their Lincoln Navigator up to, Costco. So they just didn't come back for the second temple. Did you know that?
I have no idea what you're talking about anymore. What?
When the right?
I'm a little lost here. What's going on?
What I was saying was the first temple period was when the Jews were the biblical Jews living in the land of Israel.
Right.
But then we got taken away for 70 years to Babylon, which became the Persian Empire.
Got it.
And when the miracle of Purim happened and the Jews were allowed to go back to Israel, they didn't go back.
Right.
The majority of Jews didn't even bother. They're like, yeah, we kind of like it here at Costco. So they didn't come back.
Right.
And they were just highly distracted. And interestingly, the ones who did come back weren't even like that observant. I mean, some were extremely observant, but there was a whole bunch of them that were like, they were already out, but, we're going back. Okay, we'll go back. And it wasn't pretty. Second temple period was like, from the day they built the temple, the writing was on the wall that it wasn't going to last very long.
Really?
However, the crazy thing is it got destroyed on the same exact day, because when the Romans laid siege to the temple, when they finally got in and destroyed the thing, it was on the same exact day that the first temple was destroyed, which is the 9th of Av.
So you make it the second temple sound like it was doomed from the beginning. So what made it such a disaster in the first place?
Well, mostly people not coming back. That wasn't a good sign.
Right.
When it comes to Israel, you gotta actually live there. And again, no offense to all the Jews in the diaspora. I understand that we are in the middle of historic movements and there's lots going on, with people and why they are where they are. And it's like, I'm not a gigantic mystic to explain why people aren't in Israel, but believe me, there's reasons why everyone is where they are right now. Although I voted with my feet and got myself to Israel, I came really by accident. But once I was here, a week or two, I was already like, this is home,
right?
Home. My parents freaked,
right?
And but I was home anyway. But yeah, the writing was on the wall, sadly, during the second temple period, and the first temple period was destroyed because the Jews were really misbehaving. And there's 3 cardinal sins where there's like, you're supposed to die before you do them. I mean, if someone puts a gun to your head and says kill somebody, or someone puts a gun to your head and says do adultery, or someone puts a gun to your head and says do idolatry. Those 3 are the big ones. Those are the cardinal sins, the 3 cardinal sins. You're supposed to take the bullet.
Right.
And they were, the first temple period, Jews were already doing that stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that was like, God was like, y'all's going to Babylon.
Right.
You're acting like you're from Babylon. You're going to go live in Babylon.
Right.
But this land cannot support you.
Well, it seems like, I know that we're not all living in Israel right now, but I've never been to a single place, whether it's Reform, conservative, definitely not Orthodox, that would ever say, "Hey, we don't have, we have a different God. We have an idol that we worship." It almost seems like between them,
idolatry has kind of lost its luster over the years.
Good.
People aren't that interested in it these days.
Yeah.
But in those days, it was very intense. And you want to know something? The rabbis prayed to get rid of idolatry. And God said, well, it'll be on the account of prophecy. So if we get rid of idolatry, you're going to lose prophecy. Somehow they're related.
Right.
Like on the dark side is idolatry, on the light side is prophecy. And they said, take away the prophecy because this idolatry is going to kill us. And
fascinating. You're saying that they traded the potential of a prophet?
They traded actual prophecy. There were prophets and they lost it like that.
Who was the prophet at the time that we lost it?
It was the last prophets. It was like the time of Ezra and, you know, these last prophets.
Right.
And they lost their prophecy. And they, yeah, lights out. Bro.
Right.
Lights out. But at least Jews weren't like running to do idolatry. They say that the pull of idolatry was like the pull of someone of the opposite gender. In, you know, how people can easily completely forget their morals, you know, if they are enough drawn towards sexuality. So it was stronger than that.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, the first temple, they were up to no good. And the land, Israel's the only country in the world with a digestive system.
What do you mean?
Spit people out.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I heard you're leaving tomorrow.
Regretfully. So I guess I'm getting spat out.
You just imagine God putting you in a straw and he's going to.
Well, like, you know, the situation for the listeners is that, you know, I've been here in Israel for the past 2.5 weeks, and
how's it been?
It's been amazing. And like,
what can you get done in 2.5 weeks?
Believe it or not, I got a lot done. I mean, look at these little string strings I got, you know.
Scare everybody away.
I mean, like the bottom line is that I've had a tremendous amount of growth here. I came here when I came here because it was when my passport got renewed. This was the soonest trip that I could get on.
Nice.
To be able to volunteer, because I was like, ever since October 7th, I had that need. I need to get to Israel now. I need Israel now. I need to do something. So I got on as quickly as possible, and I ended up as the token Ashkenazi on the Aish Sephardi trip. And it was
on a Sephardi trip.
Yeah, it was crazy. And these guys were great. I love
tan.
I'm very tan. A lot of them were very surprised to find out I'm Ashkenazi. I don't burn. I tan. Yeah.
Where'd you get that tan, man?
It's California, baby. So you know how it goes. Mr. Brentwood over here.
Yeah.
But
Carlos Santana.
Yeah, that's right. So but I was here and I've made a tremendous amount of growth, and you know that feeling, that sentiment that you had about you wanting to move to Israel after you're you know accidentally being here. Like my first week here, I was like, oh, I want to move here so badly. And you know, like the rose-colored glasses are off, but still it's like I need to still like figure out a way to come back here. Still, I have so much to learn. I have so much to do here, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, you know, when you come and you come back, it will probably eat you.
What? It'll what me?
Eat you.
Eat me?
The Torah says, you see, there were this time during when the Jews were in the desert on their way to the land of Israel, where these 12 spies went to Israel. And this is where the 9 days come from. So these 12 spies went to Israel. 2 of them were famous, Joshua and Caleb. And Joshua and Caleb, they came back with a good report. Well, the 10 other spies came back and said, we can't do it. These Canaanites are going to destroy us. Like, we'll get killed. We can't do it. And anyway, but part of their bad report, they said that it's a land that devours its inhabitants. It eats its inhabitants. What they were trying to say is that the place is like, it's just going to eat us up. We won't be able to survive.
Destroy us, yeah.
Yeah, and there's actually an oral tradition that tells us that, you know, these spies are walking around all these Canaanites. How the Canaanites not going to catch them?
Right.
So it turned out that God miraculously had many leaders killed. And so everywhere the spies went were like these big, like national funerals going on. It's like, wow, this place, man, everyone's dying over here. Everywhere we go, there's another funeral.
I've never heard that. That's wild. So
but just about devouring the inhabitants. So there's a great Rebbe named Rebbe Nachman who teaches, you know, very high Torahs. And anyway, one of his Torahs is that they weren't saying bad about the land that it devours its inhabitants. They're saying it's a land that has a digestive system, and it can actually digest you. So that's what I was saying. You're going to get eaten. Is
that a good thing or a bad thing, though? I'm still so confused.
Well, right now you're leaving.
Yeah.
So it's like God has put ketchup on you.
Oh, yum.
You know what I'm saying? You're like ketchup, mustard, and he's like maybe nibbling, but he has not yet taken a big bite.
I get it. I'm the appetizer.
But I have a feeling the next time you come back,
yeah,
he's just gonna like swallow you whole. You know, the land is gonna swallow you.
Yeah.
Now, want to hear something cool? Is that anything you eat becomes you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, so for example, what are you? Are you meat, fish, or vegan?
I'm vegan. Yeah.
Oh, you're vegan.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Yeah. I'm vegan too, actually.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, except fish.
Okay.
Fish and milk.
Okay. So you're pescatarian.
No, I'm vegan.
Okay.
And once in a while chicken, and on a rare occasion meat.
Okay. This conversation, you won the vegans for a second, and then like very quickly like started to dissipate as you added more to that description.
I'm sorry. I just quoted the funniest Israeli guy. I met this Israeli guy in this little hippie town called Inkerm.
Yeah.
And this guy, I don't know if he was like trying to impress the girls at the campfire, but he's like, "Yeah, I'm vegan." Like, really? You don't eat fish or nothing? And he's like, "Well, sometimes, you know, but no chicken." He's like, "Well, I eat chicken." You know, and I'm like, "How about red meat?" He's like, "Yeah, I eat red meat, but I'm vegan." I don't think he understood what vegan was.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been going with that ever since.
That's pretty amazing.
Anyway,
I like that description. Yeah.
So the land has got this digestion, and during the first temple period, the Jews were doing the cardinal sins. I mean, they were out. So the land was definitely going to spit them out. They go 70 years to Persia. They come back. But when they come back, they're all holy. Like the ones who came back were holy. They didn't originally be holy, but meaning some were very holy, but some weren't. But basically Ezra, the prophet, took major control, and he just said, we're going to do tshuva, and we're going to come back to God. And they had this second temple. Herod came along and said, "You call that a temple?" And he totally refurbished the thing into, that's what this Herodian, it's called Herodian stone, where stone's like hammered. It's got, every stone is framed.
It's the smaller stones, right?
No, the giant ones are framed too.
Oh, okay.
When you go to the Kotel, all the ones with a frame chiseled around,
right?
They're called Herodian stones. I actually know a secret cave way on that side of Jerusalem.
Okay.
Where you see Herodian stone going into the earth, and no one knows about it.
You want to take me?
I would take you. I'm just afraid they're going to excavate it. And then what?
I don't know.
Maybe I should tell people.
Maybe.
But I always kept it a secret.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short.
Good thing it's on a podcast.
Long story short is, well, I didn't say where on what part of Jerusalem, but it's the exact opposite side, though.
To listeners, go look at the description. There's a few hints in the description.
Anyway, this second temple, they were very holy. They became very holy, except what? One thing they didn't do, and that was they didn't honor each other. You know how you can get holy, and then you look at the other guy, and you're like, that guy's a spaz.
Like Lashon Hara.
Like Lashon Hara, speaking disparagingly.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much they went to that. Maybe they did. But one thing's for sure is they didn't, they just didn't honor each other. It was like a lack of love for one another. Like a snobby holiness. Yeah, it's a little weird. But
well, it's not too weird at all in my mind.
You don't think?
No, because we still have that.
Snobby holiness.
Yeah. We still have a bad case of snobby holiness. I mean, that's why I created Bad Jew.
Oh, really? Tell me.
Well, because I can't tell you how many times either I was called a bad Jew or people call themselves bad Jew because it's then the excuse, oh, I'm a bad Jew, so I can eat bacon now, right? But then it's like on a deeper level.
Why are you vegan, by the way?
Am I vegan?
Keep kosher and without knowing how to keep kosher?
Oh, it's not about, well, yeah.
That's a great thing to do.
Yeah, I do it for keeping kosher, but also primarily for health. And also because I like animals, I'll be that guy. I like animals,
All right, I got you. Hey, that's supposed to be off.
Yeah, but
put it off for an hour.
That's okay. I do it for those three primary reasons, because kosher, health, and animals are cool. I like animals. So the thing is, as far as But bad Jew, it's like there's totally a judgmental. There's totally a snobbiness in the Jewish world. Everyone gets very proud of how they do Judaism, and then something when they see someone doing it a little bit differently, instead of asking questions, they go, "Oh, that guy, I don't like the way
Right.
he does
Anyone
Judaism."
holier than me is a fanatic, and anyone less holy than me is a Gentile.
Right. And so there's this whole entire like problem of like, oh, everyone's a bad Jew except for me. I'm doing Judaism right. And it's like, well, wait, but did you ask them any questions about why they're doing that? That thing that seems to, dude, I gotta tell you guys, I'm saying guys because Yosef Behar is here as well, doing the tech in the background.
The man.
He's awesome, by the way. He's making all this possible. I saw the most interesting thing at the wall yesterday. I was with Zev, who I shouted at the beginning of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the wall. We were just reading our books, just like chilling, just having a good time. This guy pulled out of a talit bag a carpet, and he laid it down like a Muslim would.
Are you kidding me, man?
And he got down on the ground at the kotel at the wall and started completely bowing down on his knees, prostrating like a Muslim would. And I'm watching this like dumbfounded.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, is this a Muslim guy who dressed up as a Jew and then went to go, what's going on? So afterwards, Zev and I asked him, like, what was that? Like, what'd you do? And in broken English, he explained that it's his family tradition. I think he was Mizrahi, and that his family's tradition of davening. So he claimed. So I could be told, maybe I'm duped. I don't know.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
The hotel's a little bit like Venice Beach sometimes.
And I know because I live there, by the way.
You live in Venice now?
I do live in Venice.
Well, my parents live in the Palisades.
No kidding.
Overlooking Venice. On the
life.
Literally on the cliffs.
What a beautiful life they live. Yeah. That's awesome.
So, yeah. Anyway, so the land in... Oh, so if you ate a chicken...
Okay. Yeah.
Chaz.
Yeah.
That chicken would become you.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Right. Yeah.
It would become you. And so what would you rather be, a chicken or a Jew?
A Jew. Well, I'm not going to eat
Especially
Jews,
a Jew doing the right things, because I think people who are not observant of Torah's laws should be vegan.
Wait a second. But
what you messing with that chicken for? That chicken was doing good. Now you ate him. And now you're going to do something that you should not be doing with the energy of that chicken, which means that chicken, instead of going up, just went down.
Are you saying that vegan's not kosher enough? Essentially,
no, vegan's good.
Okay, good. Yeah,
because then you're not harming the chicken.
Yeah.
See, if I eat Bessie the cow, by eating a steak,
right,
and now I go do good deeds all day, and I learn Torah, and I do mitzvahs, and I help this one, and I help that one, and I like my whole life is just like, how many mitzvahs could I do with the energy of that steak?
Right.
So that Bessie now became a Jew because my digestive system's going to turn Bessie into Yom Tov.
Right.
And she went from Bessie to Yom Tov, and now, and then I went and did all these good deeds. But what if I eat that steak? And first of all, if they're not keeping Torah, they're probably eating a not kosher steak, which is probably not a great idea either. Because what's the difference between a snake? What's the difference between a steak and a pig if it's not kosher?
Yeah, not much besides the biological makeup of it. Right.
What difference does it make? And then now that steak becomes this Jew because it's going to digest.
Right.
Now it's him.
Right.
And then what does he go do? Does something wrong because he doesn't know. He doesn't know he doesn't know the details.
Right.
You know?
Right.
By the way, I'm not saying that people who aren't keeping Torah aren't doing good deeds. They're doing a ton of good deeds.
Sure.
Ton of good deeds. But there's another 45,000 laws that maybe they should take a look at.
Sure.
But let's go back to the land and its digestive system. It spit us out then. And it spit us out again on the 9th of Av. Now, when those spies came back, in the desert, the Jewish people are in the desert. We're talking 3,336 years ago. Jews are in the desert. They're on their way to the land. That night, when they came back and said that we're not going to be able to take the land, these Canaanites are rough. We're not going. There were giants there. I mean, there used to be giants. There were giants there. Like they're going to kill us. They're going to kill. They're going to freak. They're going to kill us. Make up your mind. They're going to freak or they're going to kill us. First they're going to freak, then they're going to kill us. Anyway,
People are gonna watch this on Tisha B'Av. They're gonna say this wasn't serious enough for us.
Oh no. Oh man. Anyway, so when the Jews that night, or at least the male Jews, the men cried that night, just cried the night, like, oh, we're gonna die, like we should never have left Egypt. The ladies were like, what you talking about? Like the God who destroyed the biggest civilization on the planet, Egypt, has these Canaanite guys in his back pocket.
Right.
Well, we got these guys. These guys are monkeys. Yeah, we'll get them.
Right.
And but that was the women, because you know the women have faith, deep faith. They don't have the same doubts men have. Men have a lot of doubts.
Women have way more willpower than men.
Willpower too, but they got faith. Like women they got deep faith. You know, and by the way, the word faith means to live out what you know. You know, we know all kinds of things. We'll still feel doubt. You know, and just having faith in your own abilities professionally. We'll doubt that kind of stuff. Now, it's not that women can't doubt their own abilities, but they just have faith.
Wow.
They live on a deeper faith thing. And
yeah,
it's a very feminine thing, faith. And we have to exercise our feminine side so much to just no, believe no, that God's going to take care of us.
Right. Wow.
It's hard for us as men.
Right.
You know, I mean, we're a bit in conflict with God, because think about it, God creating the world, that's a masculine to cause. I'm just saying, I'm not even talking about male, female. I'm just talking about masculine in that, you know, there's a plus and a minus battery.
Sure.
You know, you got don't work otherwise. I don't care what you identify as.
Sure.
You know, something's causing and something's the receiver there.
Yeah.
So anyway, cause and receiver is considered throughout all history and all traditions as masculine, feminine. Well, think about it. If you're God, you're the causer of creation. And if you're a woman, faith comes clear and beautifully because you're the receiver of the relationship.
It's fascinating.
But if you're a man, you know, we're like, you tell me you're causing my existence, I'll show you some causing existence. I'm a man. I'm the Marlboro man. And I don't want to, faith is for wimps.
Right. But does that mean Tisha B'Av is all the men's fault then?
Usually everything's the men's fault.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how many female conquerors, you know, wiped civilizations out?
I can only think of like Joan of Arc, but that's all I could think of. Yeah.
Yeah. She identified as a woman. Anyway. Listen, so the men who believe that is how we wound up in the desert for 40 years. Because God said, anyone who doubted my ability to back the Jews while they fight the Canaanites ain't going in the land. They're not going in. And so he wasn't going to kill them on the spot either. Wander around for 40 years till they die.
Right.
And when all those men have died, not the kids, but every man above the kid's age had to die in the desert. And all the women got to come in, meaning unless they died of old age in the desert, but they got to come in. And anyway, but there's a famous rabbinic saying that those who cried for no reason on that night when the spies gave the bad report, God said, I'll give you, because you cried for no reason, I'm going to give you a reason to cry. And the same exact night that those Jews cried is coming up tomorrow night, is Tisha B'Av. And amazingly, with all the political things that happened in the world, exactly on the 9th of Av, the first temple was burned, and the Jews it was a Holocaust, hardcore Holocaust.
It's crazy.
You know, the Holocaust that everyone's so used to is the Nazi Holocaust, was the third Holocaust. We've had two other major Holocausts, and those might have been even more major. We don't know the numbers of people killed, but it was definitely in the millions, and it might have even been more than 6 million. And and think about it, the Jews who survived the Holocaust, they went and built you know, they went and built Hollywood and Wall Street,
right,
and banking, you know, and real estate. Those Jews got hauled off into slavery for the next period of time and went through hell. They lost their national, they lost, how do you call it, their nationhood.
Yeah.
It was major, giant Holocaust, but both times the destruction happened on the 9th of Av, becomes a fast day for all of history. And it's a major fast day, meaning it's taken seriously, like really seriously. Pregnant women fast on this day. Now,
I can't imagine.
Just now, they said that we've reached a point where, after thousands of years, we now have reached a point where pregnant women should speak to the rabbi, like maybe, you know, if they're like super good constitution, maybe
Case by case.
Yeah, case by case. But even pregnant women should maybe drink less than a cheekful of water throughout the day. Not to drink, just keep drinking less than a cheekful every wait 9 minutes between. Less than a cheekful. Just take little sips, and to eat less than what would add up to like a matchbox of food every hour or something. Meaning not every hour, but every also 9 minutes. Mm-hmm. Less than a matchbox of food every 9 minutes. Meaning this is a serious fast. My wife fasted every pregnancy. You should see how many babies are born the day after. I mean, meaning that how many women go into labor by the end of Monday.
Tough woman. Yeah.
They go into labor because they shouldn't have fasted, but people fasted throughout history.
Wow.
It's a serious fast. It's not like a Torah fast like Yom Kippur. That's a Torah fast.
Right.
That's like, you know, that's spiritual exism, you know, like that's like, you know, get your soul cut off.
Yeah.
No. And by the way, when it says get your soul cut off, it doesn't mean that some dude ate on Yom Kippur. It would require like 2 witnesses coming up and saying, don't eat that burger. And you're like, I'm going to eat it anyway. You know, like that's not going to happen.
Right.
You
right.
know, but it's like a spiritual exorcism on Yom Kippur, and we treat it exactly the same. And that's why I feel like someone who, with all that the Jews are going through right now.
Yeah. This is the time to do it.
This is, if you ever fasted on this day, this is the day. And I'm looking forward to the fast. I never dread it. We are in shambles, meaning the planet. The Jews, all the more so. And this isn't the way the world's supposed to be. And the prophets, the same prophets that are how we keep our Jewish life, say that there will be a redemption. But it seems to be getting further than closer. We're in trouble, man. And so for us to fast is an act of solidarity right now. It's an act of recognition that the world isn't the way it's supposed to be. And hey, you know what? I'm going to take one day out, and I'm just going to sit on the floor and, you know, and just like, or at least on a low stool, and I'm not going to wash. I'm not going to bathe. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not going to greet. We don't greet anybody on the street. You literally walk by people like you're dead. It's weird. So weird. It's so hard to not greet people. Right. You don't greet people. You don't say goodbye. You just, what you're doing is saying nothing's normal here. And we're going to pretend for 364 days that it is normal. But on one day a year, we're going to be real with the fact that nothing's normal. And I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to drink, and I'm just not going to say hello, and I'm not going to say goodbye, and I'm not going to be involved in procreation today. I'm not going to be involved in any touching, and I don't want to be comforted, because the second you touch, you're being comforted. We're not going to touch. We're not going to be comforting each other. We are going to say nothing's normal, and this isn't right.
Yeah.
And one day of the year, let's all finally like admit it. Let's not pretend one day a year. Day after Tisha B'Av, go back to pretending. But this day, let's not pretend.
Especially this year. Especially
this year. Like, this is the year. And I don't care what you believe. Like believe in God. You don't believe in God. You believe in Torah, not believe in Torah. Like your people are still the Jewish people.
Yeah. And
if your people fast on this day, so, you know, drink a lot of fluids over the next 2 days. And and get busy with the fast,
Amen.
Yeah.
Yom Tov, it's been a real treat to have you on this podcast. Thank you for being flexible, for being on here. And to the listeners, please have a meaningful fast. Take it easy and take this time to reflect. I think that's the most practical thing that we could do right now is reflect and to mourn and to just do our best to stay connected. Your Jewish people, as Yom Tov said so articulately, is to be connected, to be a part of this mass that we are right now, to be united in a time where it's so easy to be divided. So thank you for everyone listening on this podcast. And thank you, Yosef, for making this possible. Thank you to the listeners as well for making this possible. It's been a real special way to close out my time here in Jerusalem. And I want to thank everyone here. Really, it's really humbling. It's really touching, incredibly. So thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you.